You are welcome to yet another episode of LFN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly, real name Robert Sylvester Kelly, also known as the R&B King. One of the issues we have found rather disturbing when it comes to the case against R. Kelly is how the government managed to single him out and make the world think it's only him living quite a controversial lifestyle that could attract legal scrutiny to the level which has been exercised. Many who have taken time to dig into the details of this case, however, are able to notice a selective approach that is targeting R. Kelly from among all other artists, or call them celebrities whose backgrounds and lifestyles are even more suspicious. When it comes to Aaliyah, for example, there seems to be more evidence to suggest individuals such as Jay-Z, Diddy and Dame Dash were closer to her in a relational setting than R. Kelly was and could have been her lovers. But the government is expected are rushing to lock up R. Kelly, allowing every other suspect to walk free, and there is only one explanation for this. When the government is out to lie on somebody, they know well they would never succeed if they did this to many individuals at the same time, and they will always look out for the easier target, for they know the difficulty that comes with faking witnesses and evidence against an innocent man, as well as defending concocted charges against celebrities at this level of success. The government is not stupid to unfairly hunt down prey it may not be able to kill. And this is because they know well that if their target doesn't take the fall, they risk getting exposed for the corrupt government they are, and their prejudice will be hanging out on the lines like linen for everyone to see. This is exactly what their false accusations against R. Kelly are currently causing them. So they keep their focus on one individual who they hope not to give them so much resistance. R. Kelly became the perfect target for this experiment because after being ripped off by Sony, he was low on cash to make an effective retaliation in form of a proper legal defense, and his efforts to defend himself from this unfair attack were further frustrated by the unfair denial of bail, a move which the court has to date failed to justify. In a recent media interview with American rapper Cassidy, he questions the government move of singling out R. Kelly and making it appear as though he is the only artist who they had reason to suspect could have committed the alleged crimes. Cassidy feels there are many other celebrities who could have made better candidates for this sort of indictment before and now, but the fact that government zeroed down on R. Kelly and no one else shows that they targeted him for several other reasons and not the suspected crimes. And that's why in the end we can now clearly see they ended up with the wrong guy. Now listen.
A lot of people in the industry, especially this wicked industry, music or entertainment, period.
Right.
A lot of people got skeletons in their closet. And if you start canceling people and not watching movies or not listening to music because of an accusation or something that they say somebody did, you won't have nothing to listen to.
When government chose to target R. Kelly and force these bogus charges on him, they evidently failed when it came to proving before the jury that he indeed did commit these alleged crimes. This is exactly what happens in witch hunt situations where the wrong guy is targeted. In the end, providing the evidence against him becomes a very serious problem. The only reason R. Kelly was arrested and indicted is because he is R. Kelly, and not because he was suspected to have committed the alleged crimes. The charges were only brought in to say, "This is why we are holding him." And this explains why none of the charges is in any way related to the accusations that were made against him by the multiple accusers. For almost everything the accusers said he did to them, R. Kelly was innocent. Shockingly, these claims are not even mentioned, and some, such as kidnapping, were technically embedded within counts that housed multiple charges for which R. Kelly was wrongfully determined guilty. What the government forgot is that none of the charges they say R. Kelly is guilty of can stand alone without proving guilt on certain fundamental claims from which they are derived. There is just no way for R. Kelly to be determined guilty of RICO violation, for example, if certain conditions are not met. Likewise, the Mann Act violation charge cannot stand alone without R. Kelly being guilty of the smaller claims it comes with. When it comes to forced labor, which is also a secondary charge, the same theory applies. Here is an explanation. When it comes to the RICO violation charges, for example, while proving the existence of an enterprise may sound so simple when one is operating a legal registered business, there is a precondition that must be fulfilled before any organization is regarded a RICO enterprise. And that is the common purpose to commit crime. If R. Kelly ever hired anybody, The purpose was to manage his music business and not to commit crime. What the government failed to prove was that R. Kelly's employees were employed to help him commit the alleged crimes, which was never the case. This therefore leaves the RICO charges hanging in the air with no real basis, rendering it an unfair charge on the R&B king. While R. Kelly is a successful artist who needed a team to manage his business affairs, does not necessarily mean that the team was purposed to help him commit any crimes if they were ever committed in the first place. For as long as the common illegal purpose, and I repeat, illegal purpose, is not eminent, a RICO enterprise cannot be proved. If all the government needed to prove was that the defendant was a part of any business enterprise without proving a pattern that shows the enterprise was commonly purposed to carry out illegal criminal activity, then every convicted criminal who works somewhere and has colleagues operating in a service chain would be liable to RICO charges. But because this is not the case, this is why Fox News boss Roger Ailes was not subjected to RICO charges. Moving to the Mann Act violation charges, the government was again made to think that for as long as there is an element of travel and there is a crime committed in the destination state, it automatically renders one guilty of this charge. Clearly, the way the government interprets the law is quite shallow. The tendency to think that they only have to prove a part of the Act's requirements to justify that the defendant violated it makes them appear quite oblivious in their operations. According to the government's argument, Kelly financed Azriel's and Faith Rogers' travels from one state to another such that he could expose them to an STD at their destinations. This sounds like an insane scene from a fiction movie trying to entertain a Netflix audience. What was there for Kelly to gain from the transportation? Was it only a change of location he was seeking? In order to prove a defendant guilty of the Mann Act violation, there is a primary need to prove that the purpose of travel was the intention to commit crime at the destination, and to prove such intent, there must be clear motivations mentioned. The defendant should knowingly transport the alleged victim to the destination across state lines, or to another country with the primary intention of travel being to commit the alleged crime. Since the crime here is exposing these two women to an STD without their knowledge, the government is trying to suggest that R. Kelly needed to be in California to conveniently expose Azriel to an STD, which is not likely the case, considering there is no real motivation for this, since even in the destination state the action remains illegal. This means that much as the woman may have been exposed to the STD in California, this act was not the purpose of transporting her, and this quickly takes out the sting in the unfair Mann Act charges. If you wish to take part in a live interview discussing any of these topics, let us know by sending an email to lfnmedia15@gmail.com for scheduling. Thank you for watching today's video, a production of LFN Media, giving you another perspective of issues at hand. We make it our business to keep you updated with the truth amidst the cloud of lies the media wants you to believe. It is therefore important to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon and allow all notifications so that you don't miss out whenever we publish a new video.